Hi, good morning once again and welcome to our class in Foundations in Social Studies. Okay, so how are you so far in regard to the lessons that I uploaded in the YouTube? I hope that you have understood clearly all the points that I mentioned and explained in that or in those particular videos. Now, today we will talk about another important concept in social studies, and that is about growth and development. Growth and development. Of course, I assume that this is not the first time for you to hear these terms: growth, pagtubo, and development, paglambo. Growth and development. So, seemingly, these two terms are the same. They have the same meaning, but looking into it closely, we will realize that growth is not equal to development. Okay, so at the end of this lesson, it is important for you to explain what is growth and what is development, and in the process of explanation you can cite examples, you can provide examples, and then another important point that you have to learn is that for you to be able to establish the relationship between growth and development. And the third is to establish also, or to show or demonstrate how important is growth and development in the context of society. Okay, so let's begin. When we speak about growth, growth refers to increase of size, increase in number. For example, a baby who was born perhaps 7 pounds, and then a few weeks later he was already 12 pounds. So there is an increase of weight from 7 to 12. That is an example of growth. Height, for example, when you were still a kid, your height was perhaps 4 feet, and then later on when you became teenager, 16 or 17 years old, your height increased to 5 feet. So from 4 feet to 5 feet, there is growth, a change of height, or an increase of number. In your family, for example, there were only 2 children, you and your younger brother, but later on, 5 years later, 3 more children or siblings were added. So from 2, you became 5. So there is an increase of number. So when we speak of growth, it is a quantitative change of anything. Quantitative, meaning it is countable. No, pwede siyang maihap. There is growth in the salary of your father when in 2020 he had a monthly salary of 20,000 pesos, but in 2021 his salary increased to 25,000 pesos. So there is growth in terms of salary. So can you think other examples of growth? Population, for example, in your purok. Originally, there were only 20 households, 20 kabubong, living in your purok, Purok Kalachotse, for example. But 3 years later, that 20 households increased into 30. 10 households were added. So it is now 30. there are 30 families, 30 kabubong na nagpudyo sa inyong purok. That is an example of growth, an increase in number, something that is quantitative. Okay? So, if it is countable, kung maihap, that is quantitative, quantity. So, is the understanding of growth clear? Okay, very good. Now, how about development? Earlier, I said that growth and development are not the same. They don't have the same meaning. Why did I say that development is different from growth? In development, this is something that is qualitative. It is on the quality. And as a qualitative characteristic, it is not countable. No, ang quality dili na nimo maihap. When you speak of development, it is a qualitative change of something. In the context of social studies, development referred to a change of quality of life. 3 years before, lisod ang kinabuhi, nagpingit sa mga problema, but with the growth of the salary of your father, which is now 25, there is development that occurred because in your family, you have now experienced convenience and happiness since you are now able to provide all the needs like food, shelter, and clothing. So, since there is already convenience and satisfaction as compared before, then there is development. But we have to be careful in our understanding about development. Why? Tungod kay, in some instances, there is a misapplication of the concept development. For example, moingon ta, uy, nindot na lagi ang maong dapit kay na-develop na anay gibutang nga bag-ong structure. Okay, because of the establishment of a structure, then we can say that the place has already been developed. But if you have to look into the wider perspective, we can see that that particular structure has actually destroyed the environment, the ecology. Seemingly, there is development because there is the establishment of a structure, but looking at it from a wider perspective, we will realize that it is actually not development, but rather these are actually destruction of the environment, destruction of the ecology that would cause or lead to the deterioration of the quality of life of the people in the community. So let us try to see in our community what are those things or structure or infrastructure projects that have been introduced. These can be considered growth. Bagong karsada, bagong tulay, street lighting, seawall, for example. So these are the manifestations of growth. But try to look deeper. Have these structures provided development in your community? Makaingon ba ka nga dunay development nga nahitabo sa inyong katilingban, sa inyong baryo because of the introduction of these structures or establishments? So in here, we can say that growth is an essential part of development. There can be no development without growth. Okay? So growth is part of the process of development. Kuha? We cannot experience development without growth. There has to be growth for you, for us to experience developments. However, not all times that a growth would lead to development. There are instances that there may be structures, there may be establishments that will be introduced in your place, but then this has not led you or the people in your community to experience development. So why impact, why epekto ang maong structure, ang maong establishment? Because it has not changed the quality of life of the people in that particular place. So, as social science teachers teaching social studies, it is important for you to really identify and explain clearly to your students what is growth. Sa Junra kaadyo i-explain ang growth because as we said earlier, growth simply refers to the quantitative increase, no? Pag-increase sa number, pag-increase sa weight, pag-increase sa income, all these can be referred to as growth. But development is more subtle. Development needs deeper reflection and analysis, trying to determine whether that particular growth has also introduced development in the society, in the life of the people in that particular community. Basta ang importante, when we speak of development, it refers to the quality of life, the improvement of the quality of life of every individual in that particular place. If such has been attained, if we can say that majority, if not all of the people in that particular place have their lives improved, then we can say that there is development. These concepts, growth and development, are important in teaching social studies. So, if you have some questions and clarifications, of course, do not hesitate to ask me through our GC or through private message. Thank you and good day.